First case is case number 21-3, Glenn and Nicole Perlman, 24 Drury Lane. Variance request under section 6B1 of the zoning bylaws to allow the construction of an addition within the side yard setback that is less than what is allowed in zoning district residential. So, Amy, do we have the applicants standing by?
So I have Glenn Perlman on who can speak. Glenn, if you have anyone that you want me to promote to speak, just let me know.
Is that her, I suppose?
Hey, Glenn, can you hear us? Take yourself off mute.
That's fine.
Can you hear us?
How's that?
Yeah, you're doing good.
All right. That's,
You're in.
I was hoping that "can you hear me" phrase ended in 2020, but I guess
No,
not.
we got another few months.
Unfortunately. So our neighbor was on. I don't know if you wanted to hear from him at some point, but James McKeever, if you wanted to elevate him or whatnot, but if not, that's certainly fine.
So what we'll do is,
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead.
I was just gonna say if he wants to raise his hand when the chair asks for input or anything, I'll be happy to promote him if he raises his hand.
Okay.
Okay. So, good evening, Mr. Perlman. The way this goes is we have the application in front of us. As far as it was already submitted to the zoning board, we have the plot plan and everything. So now, if you would just explain to us what you're doing or what you're proposing to do, and why you feel you need a variance for this case.
Sure. First of all, thank you for the opportunity to speak and present. I'll try to keep it brief. If there's something that you'd like more detail or less detail, for that matter, feel free. Please. So my wife Nicole and I don't know if you can see her next to me, have lived on Drury Lane since 2005. We moved here. We had no kids into what at the time seemed like a very large house for the two of us and a dog. We now have a 13-year-old daughter and twin 11-year-old boys, and our house has suddenly become somewhat small. We've spent a great deal of time and effort over the years to, on the outside of our property, to make the yard a place where our goal is for when the kids get older and have potential for having issues and getting in trouble, we'd like them to be here. And we've done a great job of that, I think, in the exterior of the house. Unfortunately, the interior of the house needs some reconfiguring in order to meet our needs. The two bedrooms that the boys are in are small. They're on the western side of the house. They don't have room to fit a desk or a homework station, so we've turned our dining room into a work area that currently has the two boys and a shared, I'll call it, space between my wife and our daughter, which is certainly was less than ideal during remote learning and still less than ideal now because, again, we don't have any dining room space. We don't have a private space for an office for either of us to do any work from home. We're actually, we can't see ourselves, so I assume you can see us, but we're currently kneeling in front of the bed in our bedroom, which is the only quiet space available these days for us. For work calls, and even these can be challenging. The three kids are sharing one bathroom with one sink, which if any of you have a 13-year-old daughter, it's can be a challenge. So what we'd like to do is enlarge the house on the western side, which is really the only part of the house that can be enlarged. So we would be on the west and in the rear of the property. That's where the two boys' rooms are, and that's over our great room and kitchen area. The way the house was sited when it was built, we're not the original owners, we're, I believe, the third. The way the house was sited was so that the northwest corner is right on the 25-foot setback line. And I believe that's because the property is very rocky. I don't know what pictures or other information you've seen in our yard, but if you had an opportunity to see the large retaining wall or retaining walls that we built, they didn't import one piece of stone with the exception of a flat patio that we put in. All of those rocks came from the property. So it's a very rocky property, and big, large boulders. And the septic is adjacent to the driveway behind the garage, which is where the master is over the garage. So the way the house is laid out, the only way to feasibly expand it without completely reconfiguring the whole thing, which is, was not going to work, or be ridiculously expensive to do so, is at that corner. So we're the plans that you've seen, we've actually scaled back a bit to try and minimize the variance request. But what you see is an expansion of going back about 12 feet, which would enable us to add a bathroom on the second floor for our daughter, enable us to enlarge the two boys' rooms, and then the living areas below it, which would be the kitchen, the great room, and in the basement below that, which is where we propose to put an office. Again, unfortunately, the way the house was sited, that being the only part of the house or area of the house that's really feasible to expand, doing so causes kind of two triangular shaped portions, one of which would be the corner of the house, the other is the deck, that would extend by about 5 feet into the setback area, and that's what we're requesting the variance. We looked at other ways to do it, worked with our architect, whether there are different configurations that would avoid having to make this request, and none of them really made any sense. They involved some walls that would be angular and really didn't fit, and really reconfiguring a number of rooms inside and the shape and moving the fireplace and a whole bunch of things that just really were not feasible for us. So our alternative is to move, which we don't want to do. We really enjoy the neighborhood. We've been in town for, for 15, coming on 15 years. 16 years, thank you. And we'd love to stay in Walpole, of course, and then, wouldn't want to move and have the kids change schools, which is going to be challenging enough as we get to middle school next year. So that's where we are. If there are questions or anything you'd like me to expand on, glad to do so.
Hey, thank you. As you know, the bar for a variance is quite high, and I think in your application you walked through the reasons why it's necessary in your opinion for this.
Yes.
So we see on the plot plan the septic system, or the septic tank is located on the right-hand side of the house. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
There's propane on this.
So, okay, so that would be difficult to put it over there.
Correct, and that's also where the garage and the master is over the garage. So if we were to expand there, the master, if we were to be designing this house from scratch, I would make the master smaller and the other bedrooms larger, but that's not how it was done. So even if we were to be able to relocate the septic, we would have to then reconfigure the whole interior of the house to move, and that wouldn't give us the office space, which would be in the basement, that we also need, because the basement isn't under the garage area.
Okay, thank you. Other board members, do you have questions or comments on this? Go ahead, Suzanne.
The septic is a 4-bedroom septic, I'm assuming?
Correct.
And how many bathrooms do you have today?
We have 3.5.
Right now? And you're putting another
Correct.
one in?
There's
Another
one in the
one. There's a
basement.
the house, whoever built the house put a full bathroom in the basement for reasons
Yeah.
unknown.
I guess he was an avid biker and would come right in from outside and shower in the basement.
Oh, okay, so you're gonna end up with 4.5 bathrooms?
Correct.
Suzanne, as you know, bathrooms isn't what gets counted, it's bedrooms.
I know, I'm just worried about cleaning all that stuff. It's getting me nervous.
Oh.
So anyway, but
Tell me, that's what my husband said.
God,
Well,
really, you guys
hope,
are asking for trouble here.
I know.
well, my hope is that although we'll have a different number of bathrooms, that the amount of activity will still globally be the same.
It's gonna get worse, guys, sorry, and they're not gonna even pick up a sponge, I'm sorry. Just your heads up.
Shut the door and not even look.
Yeah, exactly.
13-year-old girls don't clean? Is it that? I've never heard that.
boys either. Anyway, so you have and how many bedrooms are we adding?
None.
So we're skirting around that by calling them offices, kind of?
Well, we're creating an office in the basement. We're not, and we're enlarging 2 existing bedrooms.
Okay,
If you had an opportunity to see the plans from the
I did.
yeah, that's just an office area that's gonna have a couch and workspace.
I just know these are
Which we
huge
currently-
houses down
we
here, and
currently
I'm
don't.
just surprised, that's all.
So, Suzanne, one of the things we could do, we could have a condition that says the home is a 4-bedroom home and will remain a 4-bedroom home in the decision. And that
Okay.
locks it.
Sure.
I mean, we've done that before.
4.5 bathrooms. I need to move in.
We don't count bathrooms. You know.
I know, I'm counting them though.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, we didn't build the house. I would have no interest in a full bathroom in the basement. The dog appreciates it when I put him in the tub down there, but he's the only one that
He's the only one that uses it.
Okay, Suzanne, anything else?
No, I think that's it for now. I had my plan here. No, I think that's it for now.
Okay. And of note, which I didn't mention before, and I'm sure you noticed on the plans, the area adjacent to our proposed variance is woods. The house, our neighbor, who Mr. McKeever, who I believe is on the call, who is the homeowner on that side, his house is over 150 feet away from that area, so there wouldn't be no detrimental effect to any of the neighbors.
I'm just nervous in general because it's a variance, that's all.
Understand. Well, our option is to expand or look to move, which we don't want to do, so.
Hey, does anybody else have any questions or comments on this?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have a couple. So on the architectural plans, it shows an existing deck to the rear of the house that it looks like already encroaches on the 25-foot setback. Is that the current condition?
That's correct, although I spoke with the building, and this was new information to me, but when I spoke with the building commissioner, he said that the deck is allowed to encroach by 4 feet, or up to 4 feet. That is the existing condition, though, you're correct.
Okay. And then on the proposed expansion, could you maybe, if I understood you correctly, to the towards that side lot line, that there's ledge and stone and woods and stuff. So so that's kind of, you know, in addition to the setback issue, that's kind of what's inhibiting going in that direction. But could you elaborate a little bit more about if you were just to slide those 2 red rectangular areas to the right, such that they would comply with the setback?
Sure.
What's prohibiting you from going sort of to the right?
Sure. So and that's one of the things that, again, we looked at with the architect, and below, it would create a few different issues.
Too close to the septic.
Well, no, he's talking about here.
Oh.
I remember the other plan we had.
Yeah.
So
So you said moving
great-
these over.
the great room is a square, basically. So, and as is the bedroom above it. So, which we're proposing to push out. So, if we were to slide those triangles, or triangular areas, off to the right, if you're looking from the street, then what would happen is we would create angular walls or notched walls in order to do that, and because you're not expanding, we wouldn't be expanding the walls, in the same shape that they're in, and it would look very odd, and it would be very impractical for all the rooms, including the great room and the bedroom above, and it may impact the ability to put the second bathroom in, because behind that second bathroom is where the current bathroom is. So I know, Suzanne, you're happy about the bathrooms, but
I'm just the only one that cleans them in my house.
Questions,
Don't mind me.
it would create a very incongruous look to the house, and it would be very impractical. And I think it would also block the windows outside of our master bath, because that addition would then have to slide all the way over, and we'd be looking at the wall. So does that make sense?
We'd have no windows in our bathroom either.
Yeah, and the main thing would be that the great room and the bedroom above it would then be kind of broken up space. It wouldn't be a great room. It would be a room with almost like a smaller room off of it, which wouldn't make sense.
And currently there's no basement below the right-hand portion as you're looking from the street is the garage with the master
Correct.
You said. So, and there's no
Yes, correct.
basement beneath that?
No.
Okay, and so...
I don't know, can you even put a basement below a garage? I don't know. Not sure, but it's not, there's nothing there.
Right, no, I was just thinking in terms of if you're building additional foundation walls and basement walls, then, that's another issue that you would run into if you had to go to the right there.
Yeah, absolutely, and the septic is there, and again, there's a lot of rock there. When we redid part of the backyard, there's a boulder that was buried there that probably was the size of my king, or bigger, at least the part that we were able to see of bigger than our king size bed, and they just buried it instead of trying to get it out of there. So there's a lot of stuff down there.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. Those are all the questions I had.
Great, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, do any other board members have questions or comments about this request for a variance?
Yeah.
Jane, overall, are you okay with this, or what's your thought?
Well, I'm kind of agreeing with Suzanne. The variance is a high bar. On the other hand, and then when I look at 4 bathrooms, who needs 4 bathrooms? I know that doesn't count. However, the plan seems reasonable, and the reasons of having to go in this direction seem very well thought out and with good reason. So I don't know where I'm at. Do we have any questions?
Okay,
I think we can get away with using the lot.
Okay,
You
well,
know,
I guess-
the rocky, the soil,
yes,
the whole 9 yards of the lot being not conducive to. I mean, they got 2 acres here. I think it's a 2-acre area, if I'm correct. But
It's
still, the
where-
lot. It's what?
We're like 1.8, and sorry to interrupt, and the lot, the way it was configured, it jogs to the right, like considerably at the property line, which makes it, and the way they sited the house makes it really
Awesome.
impossible to do anything else. And relative to bathrooms, again, if I had built this house, I would be thrilled to not have a full bathroom in the basement, but it's
already there.
no, that's okay. That's a good point, Suzanne, though.
I think we can use the layout and the
We could do
rock.
the layout and the rocks and the feasibility of not being able
Yeah.
to do it. That's a good point. That's a very good point.
Very good.
So,
So I'm all set here myself. I'm
so I
ready.
think I'm all set too.
Drew Delaney, what's your thoughts?
I guess, I agree that the applicant doesn't have any other direction that they could possibly suit that need. I do think it's a high bar to set, and, I don't want to set a precedent that that's a bathroom for a child is suitable means to achieving a variance, but, and I don't know the area. I don't know the topography of the area. If the rock is that bad, I'm assuming it is. I haven't heard anyone else abstain to that. So, saying that we can't move it without making it, substantial hardship or financial, I don't know. That's my thoughts on it, Chairman.
Okay,
It really is all wicked rocky up there, Drew. The whole area is. We call it Medfield, where us Walpole people call it Medfield, even though it's technically Walpole. But it really is wicked rocky up there.
so,
And it is more than a bathroom, to adding a bathroom. It's the bathroom is a luxury if we, and it worked well in the design, the primary reason is, again, is to make the bedrooms bigger so we can have more work area for the kids with homework. And, you know, as they get older, that's going to be
Where they hang out.
paramount. And it's just, you know, it's infeasible the way we're set up now.
We eliminated the bathroom.
Okay. So, board members, as I look at this, it's a large lot. They're not, but it just has to do with both the lot shape, the soil of the rocks in the area. The house was positioned to the right, the left-hand side of the lot when it was originally built, and I'm not in favor of variances usually, but every now and then something comes along that's why we do have a zoning board to look at these cases. So I think that this is one of the cases that does rise to the level of a variance. So that's my take. So
Agreed.
Agreed.
okay. Mr. Perlman, do you have your neighbor that wants to comment on this?
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
He doesn't
I'm not
have
sure
to.
if he's on. I can't see from here. I don't know if he's on and you'd like to hear from him. I'm sure he'd be glad to, but I can't talk.
So
Yeah, we have full.
Amy, or any of the neighbors that want to comment on this, if you're there, either in favor or opposed, would you raise your hand and state your name, and we'll have you on.
Okay, so actually, James McKeever would like to speak, so I'm going to allow him. Whenever you're ready, James.
I just wanted to chime in and say we've seen the plans. It works for my family. I don't know where else they would actually put the extension on. There's a buffer between our homes, and it's all woods, so it would be keeping the privacy. Everything they've done to their home has honestly increased the value of all our homes on the street, and losing them, to have them move, would change the neighborhood significantly. They're an amazing family, so my family and I are on board for whatever needs to happen in order for them to get that. So we're in full support of it, and if there's anything you need from us, then we are more than willing to sign or do anything we need to do.
Okay, we don't need you to sign anything, but it's nice to have you here at the public hearing. And just, Mr. McKeever, as we look at the house at 24 Jory Lane, are you to the left or the right?
If you're looking at their home, I'm to the left. I'm 20 Jory Lane.
Okay. Okay, thank you for your comments. Amy, is there anybody else in the public to comment on this?
There is not, no.
Okay, so.
Do you need to read anything into the record? Do we have anything from anyone else? I don't think so. I don't remember.
Letters.
There were 2 other letters submitted, but.
Oh, was there?
Yeah,
Oh, no. I'm not talking. I'm talking about like fire, police, and that kind of stuff.
Oh.
Sorry.
Yeah, Suzanne, we do have a letter from the fire department. Deputy Chief Paul Barry says,
Everybody's good. That's all I need.
we offer no opposition to the request. That's from
There
the
you go.
fire chief, and we should have something from engineering. We have police saying they do not have any comments relative to public safety on this. Board of Health said that the existing septic system is designed for a 4-bedroom home, and that would be a condition we put on there. This is a 4-bedroom home and will remain a 4-bedroom home.
Okay.
Let me just see if we have anything from engineering. No.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. So at this point, Mr. Perlman, do you want to close the hearing? You probably do.
Yes, please.
Okay. So what the board's going to do now is we will vote. This is just to close the hearing. Amy, we don't have anybody else that wants to comment. Is that correct?
You are correct, yes.
Okay. So let's, this is a vote to just close the hearing. Could I have a motion to close the hearing for 24 Jory Lane?
So moved.
Moved by Suzanne, second by Jane. Any further discussion on closing the hearing? No discussion. So roll call vote. Jane Coffey,
Aye.
Suzanne Murphy,
Murphy, aye.
Drew Delaney,
Aye.
Bob Fitzgerald.
Aye.
I'm John Lee, aye. Okay, so the hearing's closed. For conditions for this, I would say standard conditions for any addition that we have like this. It has to do with drainage going into dry well, dry wells and things like that, just the standard conditions for a residential addition. And then the other one specifically for this would be the home is a 4-bedroom home and will remain a 4-bedroom home. Does anybody have anything else on this? Okay. And in the decision, Amy, we're going to definitely reference the fact that it's based on lot configuration, the
Soil.
the soil, the geology of the site, and the fact that it is a hardship based on position of the septic tank and all that stuff. Okay.
Okay.
Very good. So the hearing is closed. We have the conditions. Does anybody have anything else on that? Okay. Could I have a motion to approve the addition at 24 Jory Lane as shown in the plans dated, what is, just want to reference the plans.
I
I don't know
can't.
if mine has a date.
Is this
I'm
it?
going to reference the plot plan. I got to just zoom in. Oh,
The plot plan is revision 31621.
Thank you.
plot plan.
And I-
Yeah, go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, and I think we should also reference the architectural plans as well.
Yep. Plot plan of 31621 and architectural plans. Whoops.
February
It's
22.
like February 22nd.
February 22nd. Okay. Anything else for the decision? Okay. And could I have a motion to approve the decision for 24 Jory Lane with the conditions we just described?
So moved.
Moved by Suzanne,
Second.
second by Jane. Roll call, any further discussion? Roll call vote. Suzanne Murphy,
Murphy, aye.
Jane Coffey,
Aye.
Bob Fitzgerald,
Aye.
and Drew Delaney.
Aye.
I'm John Lee, aye. Okay. Congratulations, good luck with your project.
Thank you.
I hope it works out well.
Right, thanks so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Take
too,
care.
bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm just pulling up my agenda for tonight, and next on the agenda, we have case number 21-4, Aristides Cruz, 4 Brown Drive, special permit, finding request under section 94A of the zoning bylaws to allow construction of an attached 2-car garage, 22 by 24 feet, within the rear yard setback that is already non-conforming. So this is not going to require a
Variance.
it's not going to require a variance, but it will require a special permit. Okay. Are you Mr. Cruz?
Yes, hi, good evening.
Good evening. So if you were listening, you saw how it went with the previous applicants. What we'd like to do is have you explain what you're proposing to do, and once you explain that, we'll ask you some questions and have a little back and forth, and we'll see if you have any neighbors here that want to speak on this.
Great. Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you for your time this evening. My wife and I moved in 2016. We love our little 3-bedroom, 2-bath Cape. We have no plans to move in the near future. The only thing missing when we moved in was a 2-car garage. We're both working professionals, driving back and forth from work every day. In the winters, as you know, it can be difficult to get into a cold car. So we propose a 2-car garage, 22 by 24, on the left side of our house when facing it from Brown Drive. Going through the plans, this was really the only spot that would make sense for a garage. It would currently coincide well with the current driveway. It is non-conforming, but it's already within the non-conforming. It's already no more non-conforming than the variance that was already given to this to the previous owners to put in the backyard, the back porch a few years ago. I think we're still within the non-conforming aspects of the plan. I mean, that's pretty much it. We thought about maybe if we wanted to put the garage on the other side of the house, which would be completely conforming. The downsides of that would be we would have to change where the driveway is. We would have to get a new kind of driveway into Oak Hill. We would have to get rid of some shrub, bushes in the yard, and we would lose some yard space. So that was a thought, but so we thought that this current location would be the best.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Board members, if you've pulled up the plan, currently the existing enclosed porch is 8.9 feet from the back. And I guess one of the questions I have on that is, was that done with a variance, or how, does anybody from the zoning board recall this case?
I was on it, and I don't remember if it was a variance or a special permit.
I believe from the previous owner, Dave Uries, I believe it was a variance, and I checked the town records. I think it was I forget the exact year that it was granted, but I do believe that it was a variance.
Okay. Either way, we're not talking about a variance here. We're talking about a special permit. And is this addition of a garage going to be detrimental to the neighborhood, cause public health, safety issues? Suzanne, go ahead.
I think if he put it over on South Street or whatever side that is it would be way too dangerous to even pull out of there. He would get killed. Because that's like at a really bad curve there if he was to put it on that side. So I think it's totally a safety issue to put it, he has to kind of put it on this side.
I drove, first off, I don't disagree. I'm actually okay with this. I think discuss it, but that's not South Street that you're looking at. That's Oak Hill.
Oak Hill, yeah. So I couldn't remember.
It wouldn't be pulling out onto South Street, but
Oak Hill's just as bad.
Yeah.
To pull out, because it's, it would be. Do you know why your street's called Brown Drive, Mr. Cruz?
The developer, was it the developer that built the homes? Was his last name Brown?
Close. The developer went to Brown University.
Oh, I work there now, actually. So.
Oh, good, perfect. See, it was meant to be.
Yeah.
Actually, I drove by this, and I do agree. I think it's a good place to put it, and I agree. That's a pretty busy street.
It's a tight neighborhood,
It is.
Yeah.
And I think this is really the only reasonable place, and it doesn't appear to me, from what I saw when I drove by there, that it's going to destroy the neighborhood in any way, or in any way detrimental. So I don't have a problem with this.
No.
Okay. Bob or Drew, your thoughts or comments?
I agree. It looks good. Just a question on the height of the addition. That's going to be consistent with the height of the existing cape, so it's not going to be any taller than that.
Yeah, absolutely. Just from an aesthetic perspective, we want the height to be exactly the same as the house. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. That's the only. And I think the height conforms to the height limitation anyway. So I was just curious about that from a design perspective. That's the only question I had.
Okay, so what's going on top of the garage?
Storage. That's the plan currently, just the storage area. So we're not currently, no plans to finish it or put an office or bedroom or anything, just storage. We need more storage.
Okay. And it doesn't look like that would you're not designing it to be easily connected to the main house for the second floor. Right?
No, the connection would be from the garage to the current great room that exists right now. But so there won't be a connection from the second floor directly into the home.
Okay. Okay. Drew, any thoughts or comments?
No, not at this time, John. Chairman Lee, sorry.
Okay. Very good. Are there any neighbors to comment on this? If you are, would you please raise your hand and you'll be brought in. And I also see, Mr. Cruz, you have your architect available. I think it's going pretty well for you, so I don't think, at this point, I don't think you need your architect. But are there any neighbors that want to speak on this?
So we have Jane McGordy with her hand raised. So here you are, Jane.
I know there's no need for me to comment, but I just wanted to say I'm a neighbor in support of the project, so I wanted you to know I'm here. Thanks.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, it always helps when neighbors show up to a public hearing and either voice their support or objection. So thank you, Jane.
Next, we have Tammy and Sean Ford. Here you go.
We're on mute, guys.
Here, can you hear me now? Sorry.
Yep.
I just want to echo Jane's sentiments. I think it's a great idea. JR and Ashley are wonderful neighbors, and we're in full support of what they'd like to do. We're very excited for them.
Great, thanks.
We do not have any more hands raised from the neighbors.
Okay, very good. Mr. Cruz, I think this is probably going pretty well for you this evening. So at this point, unless you have something else to add, do you want to close the hearing?
Yeah, no, nothing else. I thank you very much. I thank my neighbors. Appreciate it.
Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to, unless board members, is there anything else? I don't even see, I guess, just standard conditions for any addition, but it's not changing bedrooms or anything like that on this. So I think this is pretty straightforward. This is just a vote to close the hearing. Could I have a motion to close the hearing?
So moved.
Moved by Suzanne.
Second.
Second by Jane. Any further discussion? Okay, roll call vote to close the hearing. Jane Coffey.
Aye.
Suzanne Murphy.
Murphy, aye.
Drew Delaney.
Aye.
Bob Fitzgerald.
Aye.
And I'm John Lee. Aye. Okay, the hearing is closed. So Amy, for this decision, let's reference the plans. The plans by Dennis Caldwell Architects, and see if I can zoom in and get the date of the plan. If anybody else gets it before me, please shout it.
That's February 15th of this year.
Okay, yep, February 15th, 2021 for the architecturals, and the plot plan. That looks like the date on that.
February 11th. It's at 2014?
No, February 11th, 2021.
2021.
Okay. So those two plans are referenced. Anything else to add, zoning board members?
Just the
height?
Nope. There was one comment, I believe, in the engineer's letter, just asking whether the any excavated material not be used to backfill the foundation area, to be removed from the site. I don't know if that poses any concerns to the applicant or not, but no.
That shouldn't be a problem.
Okay, so that would be a condition.
Okay.
All excavated foundation material not used to backfill be removed from the site, so wasting of fill does not change drainage patterns. That's
All right.
okay, and that's right in the town engineer's comment. Okay. Good call, Bob. Anything else? Okay. So, could I have a motion to the effect of what we just discussed?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. So this is be a roll call vote to approve the special permit for 4 Brown Drive. Roll call vote. Jane Coffey.
Aye.
Suzanne Murphy.
Murphy, aye.
Drew Delaney.
Aye.
Bob Fitzgerald.
Aye.
Okay. And I'm John Lee. Aye. Okay. Good luck with your project, Mr. Cruz. I hope it works out well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Next case we have is case number 21-1, Robert Carnes, 1049 Main Street, variance request under section 94A of the zoning bylaws to place a storage container or shed that is closer to the lot line than what is allowed within the zoning district central business district. And this was continued from back on March 3rd, and the applicant wasn't sure about the size of the structure and some other things. So do we have Mr. Carnes with us this evening?
So I don't see Mr. Carnes in the attendees unless he's under a Galaxy S9. That's labeled that, but I don't see his name.
Mr. Carnes, if you're there, would you please raise your hand? Yep, he's here.
Oh, okay, that is. All right, perfect. I'm going to promote you, Robert. Okay, you're good.
Okay, good evening, Mr. Carnes. Can you hear us and take yourself off mute?
Can you hear me and see me now? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. The settings for this are much different from the last time for sure. I'm not sure what changed.
Okay, so at the last hearing we had, there was a question about the size. You weren't sure of the size of the structure that you wanted to put on, and we had the plans. So if you want to explain what you're planning to.
Yeah. So we were sure of the size. I just didn't have it memorized. But it's 6 by 8. It's not a permanent structure. It's just like a Rubbermaid shed. To store tools, gas-powered appliances, things like that I need to take care of the parking lot in the patio during the spring and summer, and to help with some storage of paper goods, just to alleviate a little more room from our internal storage.
Okay, so one of the things, this is requesting a variance, and I'm not sure if you were here and you saw what we went through for the variance on a residential house, and you have to explain what is the hardship and why is this
so. Yeah, so when we had our annual inspection, one of the comments from the building department was we were just a little too congested. It's a busy store. We've kind of outgrown the footprint of the store itself. So we're trying to be creative. We just added a lot of shelving that has alleviated a lot of the problem. We've already put on an addition, as you guys know, last year to the back of the building, and we're outgrowing that as well. All good problems, but problems. So we're trying to keep up with the growth of the business. So due to the shape of the lot and what's left for usable space, that far back left corner would be out of the way. But again, the 6 by 8 footprint of that storage shed would infringe on the setback. We wouldn't have the total amount of square footage that you would typically be looking for the setback.
Okay, and I've got the most recent plan that you submitted, and it is right up to the both property lines in the corner, this structure. And I guess I'm not sure, you know, I understand it's something you want, but I don't understand, I'm struggling with this. So, other board members, do you have comments or thoughts on this?
I do. Where are the two dumpsters gonna go that are there now?
There's 3 dumpsters. They stay right where they are.
Sorry.
Yeah, they stay right where they are. They're not moving.
So you're gonna walk around 3 dumpsters to get to this shed that's up against 2 other people's properties?
No.
How will you get there?
We're gonna go out the back door from the attachment we've already put on last year. We're gonna just walk out the back door, take a left, and we're there.
Okay, I just didn't see the door shown on the plan. Are 3 dumpsters on the site plan now?
No, then
I didn't think so.
So the dumpsters aren't on the site plan, but you know what, dumpsters move, so that's not necessary.
Yeah.
But I think, Suzanne, the point is there's a lot going on there, and
Yeah.
It's right up to the property line. I've got concerns about a variance on this, but other board members, what's your thoughts?
Just had some questions. Pretty familiar with that site, but as I understand it, is there a chain link fence that's sort of covering that entire area such that it's not really visible from either abutter? Is that correct?
No, there's no chain link fence. It's a solid stockade fence to the left.
Okay.
And I put up a new vinyl fence in the rear.
Okay.
So there is no vinyl. The only fencing you can see through is the gate as you walk to where the dumpsters are presently to the left of the building there.
Mm-hmm.
That is a chain link. Everything else, there is no other chain link.
Okay. And what's the height of the shed? Is it
so
tall?
again, it's with everything that I submitted. I think it's 7'8" or.
Okay. I just was wondering relative to the existing.
Yeah, it'd probably be about a foot higher than the 6-foot stockade.
Okay. And so in terms of other locations where this could conceivably go, you have in compliance would be the. Right. I just want to walk through that a little bit more.
Sure.
So you have the existing outdoor seating, the patio area, and then of course the parking field, which would be unsafe to put it there, and then you have a dumpster area shown. So I guess it strikes me that to the extent this is going to go anywhere, it's going to go into the rear in any event.
Yeah, so we kind of looked at putting it at the very corner of the back left of the building. It would probably fit there right up against the building, but again, I don't know that the fire department doesn't have enough of the 4 feet to get around that. So the only place that I can really figure to put it where, in case of an emergency, they had their 4 foot of access would be in that back corner. I can't think of anywhere else to put it.
And it's not even really visible unless you're looking sort of down the left-hand side of the building.
It's not. It will not be visible at all. There's nobody behind us there. I guess somebody in the apartments next door to us. If they were looking down from their 2nd-story room, they could probably see the top of it. But, I can't imagine that it would be very noticeable.
Mr. Chairman, if I might, if you're finished, are you, Bob, with the question?
Sure. Yeah, go ahead, Jane.
I don't know how to put this, but I think this situation, I can't see myself voting on something where it probably is what I thought it was. It might be 7 feet. I'm not too sure. Maybe it is. As I recall, I could put it here because the fire department might not agree with it. you know, there's a high bar here, and this to me is just all too vague.
I put in I put in the specs of the shed, ma'am. You know, respectfully, I did give you all the information that was requested from me.
But apparently,
So the specs are there.
Apparently, it wasn't enough because we wanted more from you.
No, you wanted a stamped plan last time. So
Yeah.
I didn't give you a stamped plan. So I gave you a stamped plan.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just a little too vague. What are the neighbors thinking back of this? Because they weren't crazy about these people weren't crazy about it at the beginning when it was the crispy cherry or whatever it was. And those people were very, very nice. I don't know. This seems like a push it through here. I'm entitled to something, so I don't know.
Well, well, Jane, as you know, the applicant is not entitled to this. That is why he's here.
That's what I'm saying, but it feels like I'm entitled to it. I gave you what you asked for, so what's the problem?
No, well, that's he can come across however he wants, but the fact is that he's not entitled to it, and the zoning board has to decide whether, you know, it meets the standard for a variance, and it sounds like you're concerned that it doesn't meet the standard for the.
Right, I definitely am.
Okay. Anything else, Suzanne? Go ahead.
How tall is the fence between where the dumpsters are that are not shown on the plan next to the apartment building?
That is a standard 6-foot fence.
When I walked up to it, I could see right over it, and I'm only 5'9".
No, that's before you get to the tall fence.
Excuse me?
That's before you get to the tall fence. As you get to the gate, the security gate for where the dumpsters are, that fence to the left is lower.
Yeah, 4 foot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then as you get past the security gate, it's 6 foot from there.
So the people are going to be able to see because it's a 4-footer over there.
No, they're not going to see the shed, ma'am.
You just said the shed was 7 feet tall. The fence is 6 feet tall.
The shed is in the far corner. The shed is in the far corner of the lot. It'll stick up by about a foot. It's a 6 foot. It's a 6 foot fence. It's a 7'8" shed. The height of the internal of the. Okay, I mean, I guess we're all having fun here. I don't feel entitled. No, I see. You know, I'm asking. I'm trying to clean up the property. I'm trying to make it cleaner, neater. You know, I'm trying my best to keep up with what's going on.
Right.
I've already been told I'm entitled. You know, I've already been told I'm unprepared. You know, I've given you what you've asked me for in the application. You asked me for an application. I filled out the application. I gave you the specs of the shed, and I don't know if you had time to review it or not, but the specs of the shed are right there in the packet.
Okay, thank you.
So, Mr. Kynes, yes, we do have the specs of the shed, and we now have your stamped plan showing where the proposed shed is going to go. And it's going right in the corner up against the property lines of the Episcopal Church and the apartment. So we can see it, and I will.
And it's all woods back there. There's nobody seeing it from behind. It's all woods.
Okay. So now comes the question about for board members for a variance, and does this meet the bar of a variance? You know, there's a lot on this site, and you know, the question is that a reason for a variance, that he can't put it anyplace else? I think, Bob, you were hitting on those points, that it can't go anyplace else, or is it you know, some other hardship that requires a variance for a shed? So, Drew, any comments?
Well, it was one of the first cases I listened to when this applicant happened to apply for occupancy of this building. And at that time, I believe it was another board member had asked if this applicant was going to be applying for a liquor license. And at which point he told this board that he was not planning or intending on doing that, at which point weeks after he was approved, he did do that. So I guess I'm a little hesitant in the full transparency of what the application is revealing to us. That on top of the fact that I would believe that I'm looking at the plot plan and there's no date on it. And from my last drive-by of it, I swear the configuration of the property is a little different than what we're seeing on this plot plan. I think there's...
That plot plan, I'm sorry, Drew, that plot plan was...
If you don't mind, can I just finish what I was saying?
Drew, go ahead.
Plot plan is a little bit different than what I remember from a couple of days ago, driving by, where there's pillars and there's an area off to the side where there's tables and stuff like that. This is showing that all parking. So I guess, I don't know, I have my hesitations for such a tall request of a variance, and I'll leave it at that. I apologize. You were saying?
No, Drew, hey, Drew, that's a good point, because as I look at the plot plan, we've all seen this. There's a nice seating area out there over by Front Street, and that's not showing up on this plot plan, which is dated March 9th of this year. So
yeah. The plot plan was originally submitted to me, I think, from Amy. I believe Amy sent me the plot plan, and then I had to send it off to I don't think he's an architect, to the gentleman who did the stamping for where the shed was going to go. But the plot plan I requested from Walpole was sent to me, and then I sent it to the gentleman to have the shed drawn on it and stamped.
Well, that's not helping your case, because now what you're saying is that the person that did the plot plan didn't put what's on there now currently. So that's a separate issue. So
okay.
So this is a request for a variance. Do you have anything else to add, Mr. Carnes?
No, again, it's just, we will make it another day without the shed. We're trying to make it a more presentable area. We're trying to clean it up. We're just trying to organize, and the shed would be helpful, for us to be able to organize tools and rakes and just things to make the area look nice. Again, whether it fits the title of getting a variance or not, I don't know. Maybe I can get some smaller storage in there. I don't know. I just know that we are tight on space, so we're just trying to do our best to keep up and keep it looking nice. That's all we're trying to do.
We get that, and what we're trying to do is keep up.
Well, I mean, again, Mr. Lee, I've been called entitled on this meeting. I've been called a few different things. I've been called dishonest. When I came to the original meeting,
okay.
I've never wanted to have a beer or liquor license. That wasn't my thing. I wasn't looking for that.
No,
as we grew, as the business grew, people were asking us about getting beer and wine. So am I supposed to tell my customers that, I told the board that we're not doing beer and wine? Or am I supposed to go before the board again and say, hey, customers are looking for beer and wine? So I'm just doing what the customers are looking for. And to ask for a tiny little shed in the corner of the property, I understand that you guys have rules, laws, obligations. I get all of that, okay? But I've got people making faces. I got entitlement. I got a few different things tonight that make no sense to me. I'm just trying to run a nice business in the center of town. That's it.
Yeah, and I think you are. So one of the things I
wish the entitlement comment never came up. That's going to stick with me. I don't like it.
The entitlement was not I
know exactly what it was. I didn't misunderstand.
Okay, well, I think you did, because the issue here is not being entitled. You are not entitled to put this shed up there. If this was,
that's okay.
Right, and that's why you're here. So you you are not entitled to put the shed up there. Nobody called you entitled.
No, that was the context that was used. We're not going to skirt around that. It's recorded. We can read it back. You know what I'm saying? But that was the context that was used, in my opinion.
Okay.
And you also don't know if I'm being brutally honest at all times. You know, I got other people worried that maybe I'm not being honest. I'm just looking to put a little shed up.
Okay. So, and I think the comments about the liquor license actually is not applicable to what we're talking about tonight.
Well, then it probably shouldn't have been raised.
Well, people can raise whatever they want, but that's not going to be part of at least my decision-making process.
Yep.
Okay. So, at this point, Mr. Carnes, first off, are there any neighbors or anybody to comment on this? If you would raise your hand, and Amy will bring you into the meeting.
So I'm not seeing anyone with their hand raised at the moment.
Very good. Okay, thank you. So at this point, Mr. Carnes, do you want to close the hearing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So this is a vote. Board members, do you feel you need any other information? Okay. So this is just a vote to close the hearing.
Do we have any, sorry, Chairman Lee, do we have any comments from the police or fire on this one? I didn't.
Yep. So we have from Deputy Chief Richard Keller. They from the police department. They do not have any comments relative to public safety. We have from the town engineer. It says the proposed location of the shed is now shown on the plot plan. This addresses the concerns when it was not shown. So that's been resolved. And let me just see if there's anything from, we did get a comment from fire. Let me just, that was submitted separately. And let's see. And I think fire department had no concerns. Okay. Okay, so does anybody have, Bob, good call on that. Anything else? Okay. So at this time, this is a vote to just close the hearing. Could I have a motion to close the hearing?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Moved by Suzanne, second by Jane. Any further discussion on closing the hearing? So this is a roll call vote to close the hearing. Suzanne Murphy.
Murphy, aye.
Bob Fitzgerald.
Aye.
Drew Delaney.
Aye.
Jane Coffey.
Aye.
And I'm John Lee. Aye. Okay, so the case is closed. Board members, you comfortable to vote on this variance at this time?
I am.
Okay. So does somebody want to make a motion to either approve or deny the variance request for 1049 Main Street?
I'll make a motion to deny.
Okay. So could I have a second on that?
A second.
Okay, any further discussion? So I will just discuss procedurally. What will happen is if you are in favor of denying this, you will vote yes on this because that would be a vote to deny. Everybody clear on that? People comfortable with that? Okay, so this is a motion to deny the variance request for 1049 Main Street. Suzanne Murphy.
Murphy, aye.
Bob Fitzgerald.
No.
Drew Delaney.
Aye.
Jane Coffey.
Aye.
And I'm John Lee. Aye. Okay, so the request for variance is denied. Okay. Okay, good night, Mr. Carnes.
Good night.
So next we have, let me pull up the agenda. Next we have Moose Hill Comprehensive Permit. And I'm very sorry, are there any neighbors from Moose Hill in the audience that are here for this case? I hope not. Because
There are not any.
okay, I hope they were notified that the applicant has requested a continuance for this. So I want to discuss this case and as far as what's going on. this is a comprehensive permit for 270 Moose Hill Road. It's a single-family house. The proposal is to tear down a single-family home and build eight units of affordable under Chapter 40B. It is located right in front of the apartments, the 40B apartments that were built on Moose Hill Road. The applicant has opened the case and then has continued repeatedly. I believe this is Amy, do you know if this is the third or the fourth request for a continuance the applicant has had?
This is the third continuance.
So this is the third continuance, and Amy, did you give a reason why he was requesting a continuance?
They stated that they need additional time to address the comments from peer review. Fire department also gave comments dated 3/31, so I'm assuming that they're taking into consideration the fire department comments.
Okay, so one of the problems is that this is a 40B application, and from the time it was filed, we have only 180 days to complete the hearing, and we opened this. Amy, do you know the exact date this was opened? I thought it was
December 20th.
December 20th. Okay, so in December. So the reality is, as of May 20th, this project has to be, the review from the zoning board has to be complete, and we've started the peer review, and we've had some comments from town boards, but we really haven't had any significant public hearings. That's a concern, particularly as time is ticking on. So the question is, do we want to? I think we should grant a continuance tonight, but we also probably should put it on sooner than later, so that we can get this process moving. Board members, what's your thoughts on this?
Sounds right to me.
Well, I might also request that, the applicant's not here, but we could maybe through Amy request that they agree to extend the 180-day period by another 60 or 90 days. Just, it's all well and good that there are comments being addressed, but we haven't even been presented the project. We're really at square one, and they're kind of running the clock a little bit on us. So I don't know if we need a motion to that effect, or if the board's in agreement with requesting of the applicant an extension of time to complete the hearing, given the fact that they've opened it in December but haven't appeared before the board, and it's now April.
Okay, I'm going to just ask if Amy, if the applicant or somebody representing the applicant is in the audience, would you please raise your hand so we can recognize you and have a discussion about this?
They are not present.
Okay, so what I would like to do is continue this to our next meeting. When Amy, when's our next meeting?
So our next meeting is April 14th, which is next Wednesday. And then I'm not sure if you want to have a meeting on the 21st of April. That would be a regularly scheduled ZBA meeting, but we don't have anything on for right now. But May 5th is the meeting after the 14th that we do have scheduled.
Let's put them on the 14th.
Yep. So I'd like to continue this to the 14th.
Okay.
And then Amy, would you also write a letter that we are requesting an extension of 90 days, 3 months. So whatever that would put us out to, because these have been requested by the applicant, and as we've all said, the clock is ticking on this. So not 90 days from today, but 90 days from the end of 90 days from May 20th would be, and we might get it done sooner. I don't know, but the applicant has had 3 requests, and we're we're taking this seriously, so, okay.
This affects the neighbors too. They haven't even had a presentation.
That's right, and the neighbors, I'm sure they're getting frustrated planning to have meetings, and then it gets asked for a continuance at the last minute. Okay, so could I have a motion to continue case number 20-24, Radke Associates LLC, 270 Moose Hill Road, comprehensive permit? We continue that until next week, April 14th at 7 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
Second by Jane. Any further discussion? I hope you all see my concerns on this. This is to continue the case. Roll call vote. Suzanne Murphy.
Murphy, aye.
Bob Fitzgerald.
Aye.
Drew Delaney.
Aye.
Jane Coffey.
Aye.
And I'm John Lee. Aye. Okay. Good. The next one we have is case number 0519-2, Wall Street Development Corporation, 48 Burns Ave, Union Street, Brook Lane, Burns Ave. Request for project change, modification of a comprehensive permit dated January 26th, 2021, and modified with subsequent letter on February 10th, 2021, Mass General Laws 40B, to amend the previously approved projects to include modified conditions of the decision filed with the town clerk on January 13th, 2020. And this was continued from March 1st of this year. So, good evening, Mr. Petrosi. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good.
Very enjoyable meeting tonight.
Yeah, zoning board meetings are always fascinating and enjoyable.
I'm just waiting for the day when I have a few neighbors speak favorably about my projects.
Okay, I am too, Mr. Petrosi. So, okay, so why don't you want to bring us up to date where you are on this your request?
Well, simply as I mentioned during the previous hearing, these are requests for more or less house cleaning items that are left either open or need to be changed due to other administrative proceedings that have occurred since the issuance of the comprehensive permit. So the first item has to deal with, there is in condition C.1.A, the board was to determine a reasonable amount that Wall Street would be obligated to deposit with the town for technical technical advice and inspections during the project, or at the start of the project. I guess it's really kind of a vague condition. So since the decision was issued, the commission, the zoning board has not provided that reasonable amount, and I am proposing that we agree on a $5,000 amount to deposit with the town to satisfy this condition at this point.
Okay, and for C1A, I think we were looking at a 15, I don't have it, so let me see. Does anybody have what the town's request was for that?
I don't think there was a request.
So Ashley had sent out recommendations maybe a week or two ago. I can resend them to the board if you cannot locate them.
So I want to just take a moment to bring up that. So thank you.
Okay, you should have it in your inbox.
Yep.
I think it was 15.
March 15th?
Amy, Amy, do you have the date that that was sent out?
Hold on. What am I looking at?
I've got it here. I've got it. It was sent out on, just if other board members want to pull it out, it was sent out on March 24th.
There we go.
Okay.
Was that a scope of services that was presented, or quite honestly, I don't even know what inspections or technical experts will be necessary at this point while the project is ongoing construction.
So yeah, so condition C1A, that's what, Mr. Petrosi, that's what you're talking about.
Correct.
And the comment is, the scope of work provided on March 11th, a check of $5,000 should be sufficient. So $5,000 is what would be sufficient. And
okay,
Rosie, you agree to that?
That's correct.
Okay. Okay. So the condition still stands, but now what we have done is we've put a definitive number on that.
Yeah, we would just need a vote from the board to confirm that.
Okay, yeah, we will. We'll do that. We're going to go through the other conditions that
sure.
you have on the list here.
So the next one, condition C.1C, is simply a revision to the decision, because since the we got a superseding order of conditions from Mass DEP, and that document is now the controlling document regarding any environmental requirements for the project. So in the original order, or in the original decision, the board referenced a order of conditions issued by the Conservation Commission that has been recorded. It's simply a house cleaning thing, and now we're just simply saying that the superseding order of conditions for the project issued by Mass DEP has been recorded in the Registry of Deeds. So we provided the recorded copy. We just need, just to ensure there's no misunderstanding going forward, that is the controlling order of conditions, not the local order of conditions.
Okay, and that is, we have the exact wording that we will use, but pretty much, Mr. Petrosi, you were correct. And this is the superseding order of conditions dated February 20th of last year. Okay.
That's good. All right, thank you.
Okay, moving on to condition
C2H. So this is another like vague condition that the board put on it. So this is to deposit an amount of surety with the town for emergency sediment control and site stabilization in the event that for some reason the project were to be abandoned at some point from a period of time. So as I suggested, that typically this kind of a line item, we're not opposed to providing security. Typically this kind of line item would be incorporated into a bond amount or a tripartite agreement that is typically used for a subdivision. And that amount would be determined by either the town engineer or some other qualified professional to put a number on that item, but it would be incorporated as one bond item because you have other provisions in here for a bond to be established under, similar to the subdivision control law.
Okay, so on this one, what we have is rewording of it, and it says the applicant shall provide security in an amount acceptable to the town for emergency sediment control and site stabilization. Said security shall be provided consistent with provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 41, Section 81U, as provided in condition number 1.1 provided herein. So,
Yeah.
And I'm looking at this, engineering department has no objection to that, so.
Okay, it's I.1, not 1 down, just
Okay, yep.
purposes, clarification. And then the next condition is similar.
So we're
to,
doing 4 tonight? 4 of these?
Well, there's half a dozen conditions here that are kind of similar. They're all relate to the same issues.
Yeah, these are, Suzanne, these are the conditions that, that Mr. Petrosi, appealed, and we were going to look at them. We voted that these were substantial modifications, and now we're going through, and Ashley's provided a document that outlines, where each one of them stands, and
Which I don't have, sorry.
well, it was emailed to everybody.
I've looked, I can't find it.
Okay, I can send
Anyway,
it.
this project hasn't been opened properly yet.
Well, that's
Why are we going through all this when the public's not properly been informed of this project?
So I think it has been because this is, I gotta pull up where we are on the agenda, sorry.
Maybe I wasn't there for the presentation.
No, you were. You haven't missed, we haven't missed anything. This has this goes back to the original case because this is part of the appeal of this case. So if you look at the agenda, it explains, this is not the revised project. This is the conditions that were already issued by the zoning board. Amy, I am correct on this, right?
Yes, you're correct.
I'm not comfortable with this at all. It's not funny, Mr. Petrosi. There's been no presentation
there is,
on the new substantial hearing.
Suzanne, this is based on the original approved decision by the board. We're not talking about any kind of modification project or Brook Lane connection. This is the original decision issued by the board last January 2020. These are the conditions that need to be straightened out and clarified. That's all we're trying to do. We've been trying to do this since last April.
Suzanne, I want to send you the document that I have that explains this.
What day was the presentation done on the substantial change?
November 18th or there, that's what time we had the first hearing, November 18th, 2020.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I have nothing. I don't even care.
Let me send it to you, Suzanne.
Has everybody else got everything in front of them, or is it only me?
No, I don't have all in front of me.
I do have the document that if I can, Chairman Lee, this was a request for modification of the originally approved comprehensive permit that was submitted to the board, and which we discussed at a public meeting, concluded that it was substantial, and then as a result of that finding, opened a public hearing to address these specific requested modifications. And that's been noticed and on the agenda so far as I know. Amy can correct me if I'm wrong there. So I don't think there's a question of public notice or with regard to this set of modifications. You're right that there's been, I think,
3 already, and
this
now he says another half dozen tonight. So we're going to do 9 of these things.
These, if I can, yeah.
Sorry,
it's not this. The list that we're going through now is modification request number 2, and that request had a number of requests within it. So it's really these are not newly proposed. These have been proposed in a letter dated back in February, listing the various requested modifications.
Whatever.
I think
I'm not comfortable without council.
Okay, so
So we can continue?
well, Suzanne, I understand your concerns that you're not comfortable without town council. I think what we
This is very unusual. I've never done anything like this, ever.
right, and it's made more confusing because we've had a revised submission to the board for this site. We've had 2 sets of requests for modifications, one with this group that we're looking at right now, and then one with just a single modification. So I agree, it's confusing. I think if you take a look at the document that I just emailed to everybody, except Bob, because Bob, you said you had it, it outlines what each one of these conditions, it gives the condition, it gives the request for the modification, and then comments from the town boards that it affected, whether this was of concern. So, okay. So, back to Suzanne. Did you get the email that I just sent over?
Sure.
So, condition number, it's we're now on C2H.
No, C2I.
C2. Okay, yeah, we already did the sediment control,
Right.
which it'll be handled as a bond, and the engineering department has no objection. So next one, C2I.
C2I is a similar situation as C2H. Again, it says provide security in the sum of 125% of a bona fide estimate of the cost of restorative landscaping. So, again, we're not opposed to putting security aside. We would ask, again, that it be combined with one bond of the same General Laws, Chapter 41, Section 81U, which is the subdivision control law bonding mechanism. But I would also say that what is 125% of the cost of restorative landscaping? Is it right now the existing landscaping there is, I wouldn't call it anything to be restored. So, but again, we're willing to put aside security under the bond mechanism if the board would be agreeable.
Okay, and so what we see is the modification is on here, and the one thing that we would add is the line, if plants are required, the security mount should include plantings and plant die-outs. So that's
sure.
right in that. Okay.
Okay. So the next condition, D.1.E, is similar to the previous. It references the order of conditions from the Conservation Commission, and that should now reflect the superseding order of conditions issued by Mass DEP on February 20th, 2020.
Okay.
And similar, the next condition is similar.
Hold on. No, we're not just going to move on. So what we have is we have the staff comment. The conservation agent noted that the Conservation Commission included this specific condition specifically so that the infiltration basin could be reviewed after final grade and before going online. DEP's conditions requiring an as-built plan give no timeline other than prior to post-construction discharge. It has been our experience that infiltration basins need review earlier. And the wording that's being recommended is, an as-built plan of the infiltration basin shall be provided to the Conservation Commission and reviewed by the town engineer no later than 30 days after the completion of final grades. And that's...
I have no objections to that, but I do think that provision is somewhere else in the decision, but we have no objections to that condition, that wording.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Petrosi, you can move on to condition H9A.
H9A, so the same referencing the same order of conditions versus the superseding order. Applicant shall comply with the terms of the order of conditions for the project of the Conservation Commission. That should now be the superseding order of conditions issued by Mass DEP. So it's just a cleanup of the wording.
We've got a note here that says a numbering error from Wall Street Development. See modification request for the above ZBA decision at number 8 below.
Yeah, so 8 was, the requested modification should not be numbered 8, it should just be.
Okay.
And the next request should be number 8.
So the request modification, the staff comments below. Bob, you want to take a stab at this one?
So, I guess, so we're talking about condition H9B.
9A.
Yeah, no, I think it's the numbering error, as I interpret it, is just a reference to the fact that the text immediately below it that says requested modification
Right.
is it's numbered number 8, but it shouldn't be a separate thing. That's the requested modification associated with what's labeled as number 7.
Correct. That's correct.
And so if you look at, say, scroll up to number 6, there was the condition, the requested modification, and then a staff comment, if any. And in this case,
there was no staff comment.
Correct. So it should have just, there should be no 8 there, and therefore the italicized language would go away if it had been presented in the same format as above. Short answer is I don't have any problem with it. That condition H.9.A, the modification that's in the paragraph labeled number 8 is consistent with the other ones, and I'm okay with it myself.
Okay, good. Okay, Mr. Petrosi, next.
And then the last one, condition H9B. It refers again to the order of conditions issued by the Conservation Commission and simply reinserts the date of the superseding order of conditions issued by Mass DEP. I don't think there's any other language changes other than the dates of the superseding order of conditions.
Okay, and what we have from that, we're talking about the DEP superseding order of conditions. And what we have from Landis Hershey, it says the requests for modifications are consistent with the DEP superseding order of conditions because he references it in most of the modifications. However, this is Landis speaking, however, I recommend that the ZBA not remove the Conservation Commission's special conditions issued on 11/4/2019 from the 40B decision, other than the conditions the applicant objected to in his appeal. Special conditions 24 has to do with removing 30% organic materials only. Condition 28, 46, 50, and 52. The order of conditions apply to requirements of the Walpole Wetland Protections Bylaw and regulations for the protection of the town's wetland resource areas. I do not believe these conditions are in conflict with the DEP superseding order of conditions, and that's from Landis Hershey. So, so the question is, do we just leave that modification?
If you want to add that language in, I have no objections. It's kind of
okay.
Readable.
Okay, so at this point, it looks like, Mr. Petrozzi, we're actually in quite a bit of agreement tonight. How nice.
We could have done this in April.
Okay. Well, it is April.
Last April.
You've changed things a number of times since April.
I know. Understand. Thank you. Appreciate it.
So what I think the board should do, we've had a discussion on this. We've had the staff comments, and I think now we just need to have a decision drafted, and we'll have town council do it with the comments from the board. Most of it, I think, is in agreement with this. Once we get that document back, then I think we can vote on it. But I'm not comfortable voting on something until I have town council review it and go over it, so we see exactly what we want on this.
So we're going to close the hearing, though?
Are there any members of the public who are?
There are.
Public that would like to speak on this, please raise your hand and Amy will bring you into the meeting.
Okay, first is Kathy Campbell. Here you go, Kathy.
Yes, good morning, Kathy Campbell, 35 Burns Ave. Thank you very much. It's nice to see everybody. I just have a question on the number 4 and number 5, where referencing the Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 41, Section 81U. How is that applicable in this 40B?
Well, the board made it a condition.
So, Mrs. Campbell, I think that's a good question, and that's why I want to make sure the town council reviews this. A 40B is still has to apply with state rules and regulations, and these rules and regulations under General Laws 41 Section 81U. That's what you're talking about. Is that correct, Mrs. Campbell?
Yes, correct.
So that has to do with bonding a project, and the way it normally works on a regular subdivision, they actually have to put up a security bond so that if something goes wrong and they leave the site a mess, there's funds that can restore it or complete the project. So that's what this is about. I think it's okay, but we will have town council review it. Bob, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, it is a reference to, as Chairman Lee mentioned, the bonding mechanism that's typically associated with things like subdivision approvals, to make sure that infrastructure is completed, and if it's not, then the bond can be called on to by the town to complete the infrastructure, so that you have a fully functioning subdivision. And so this is the applicant's request to the board that the same types of surety that are allowed under that section of the statute be allowed. Not that he's trying to get a waiver from providing a surety, he's just asking for the same types of sureties that are available to a subdivision developer in this case, which I think is appropriate. The town's the town's used to that type of bonding mechanism, and so I think it makes sense to use that same process here.
Okay, I just wasn't sure how that tied into this 40B, so thank you.
I think that's a good question. Suzanne, you were on the planning board. I was on the planning board. Are you comfortable with this this
I'm
word?
comfortable with nothing that's happening tonight without council.
Okay. And as I said, we're going to turn this to town council to draft the decision, but we're going through the hearing process tonight.
Yep.
And Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, I just had one other question, and I'm sorry, I got
Go ahead, Mr.
distracted.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Is it okay?
Yeah, go for it, Kathy.
Please go
Okay.
ahead.
So I'm sorry. So on the number 9 condition, the H9B, I just want to make sure that I understood. I know that the plans that Mr. Petrosi is saying he's submitted with this is dated January 20th, 2020, but I happened to just notice tonight on the zoning board website that final plans were submitted and they're dated February 23rd, 21. So I'm confused as to what the January 20th, 2020 plans are versus the plans that are on the website dated February 23rd of 21.
That's a good question, good catch. Mr. Petrosi, can you explain that?
The superseding order is references the plans that they reviewed and approved. The plans that were submitted on February 23rd, 2021 is in compliance with the comprehensive permit decision that we address comments, the final comments of the peer reviewer, and provide certain revisions to the plans like sidewalks, utilities, other things. If you look at the plans, you'll see other sheets that have been added to the plan that comply with the conditions that the board outlined in the decision, and don't relate particularly to the the superseding order of conditions. They are like details that the board requested.
Okay. Mr. Petrosi, that wasn't very clear to me, and maybe it's just because the hour is getting late. But Mrs. Campbell, I think you bring up a good point, and what we will do is we will make sure that the plans referenced in any decision align with plans that were submitted with the correct dates on them. So.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate the answers.
But Mr. Chairman, not to belabor the point, but Mass DEP issues their superseding orders based on a set of plans that we presented to them at that time, and they were dated that date. The plans that were submitted on February 23rd are related to your decision, the condition that's in your decision that says final plans shall be submitted to the board. Final engineer, it's condition, I want to call it, let's see, let me get exactly the A.13 D, which says final engineering drawings and plans that conform to the requirements of the comprehensive permit shall also incorporate all conditions and requirements of permitting agencies having jurisdictions. Applicable sheets of the final plan shall be signed and sealed, blah, blah, blah. And then final plan shall include the location of walkways to doors of each unit, which shall include stairs, decks, paths, access at rear of each unit. Final plans shall provide grading detail between the roadway and the buildings. And final plans shall be in accordance with the comments from the peer review consultant and town staff detailed during the course of the hearing. So we simply provided those final plans based on all of the information that we had available to us to satisfy that condition.
Mrs. Campbell, to answer your question, I agree with you. We see dates February 20th, 2020 and January 20th, 2020, and you just want to make sure that those line up with the dates of plans that were submitted, that they're correct. Is that what you're saying, Mrs. Campbell?
Yes, I just wanted to understand what the differences were. Thank you.
Okay. Do you have any other questions or comments, Mrs. Campbell?
No, Mr. Chairman, I don't. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any other people to comment on this case? Amy, if you would like to comment, please raise your hand.
Yep, so next we have Melissa Parquet. Whenever you're ready.
Good evening, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, Mr. Chairman. We live at 10 Burns Avenue. And I guess I'm a little confused, along with Suzanne and Kathy, as to what we're actually discussing tonight. Are you taking general comments about this project? And which dated plans are you talking about, and which case number are we talking about?
Okay, so we are talking about the original decision that was filed the original decision for this.
January 13th, 2020.
Okay.
Okay, I just wanted to say that I don't think it's been clear to the public what plans you're discussing and or approving or not approving. So I don't feel like we've had public comments on this particular set of plans that's posted to the town's website.
Okay, so what we're looking at tonight is just the modifications that the applicant has appealed, saying that these, 8 or 9 things he has a problem with, and it was sent back to us from the Housing Appeals Committee. Amy, am I correct when I say that?
You're correct.
Okay. So we were asked to decide whether these were minor modifications that we would just say these are minor and move forward. The board voted that these were major, substantial modifications is the term that's used. We said these are substantial because of the project. And now what we're doing is we're going through these and looking at them point by point, and we've already had input from the town boards. That's where we are. The project that's been proposed is not changing. It is just the conditions are being looked at and possibly modified here. Does that answer your question, Ms.
Yes and no. So we're basically back to where we were, 2 years ago?
No.
Okay,
So let me explain. Mr. Petrosi could go ahead and build the project right now if he so decided and wanted to. He doesn't want to, he would rather appeal some of these conditions for his reasons. And so that is why we're looking at not the whole project anymore. We're just looking at these conditions. And board members, if I'm speaking, if something's not making sense and you disagree with me.
Not making sense.
Okay, I do understand actually what you're saying. I just feel, and I maybe I'm the only one, but I feel like there's been an end run around the neighbors in this approval of this particular project. I've seen many different plans on the website. I've seen many different applications and case numbers and revisions and waivers discussed and on and on and on. I get that, there's limited ability for us to request changes to the project. But for this particular project, I don't feel like I've been given any significant, clear opportunity to discuss my concerns with traffic and the size and the number of units, the size of the street, the number of visitor parking spaces. It's been so convoluted that effectively we have not had a chance to comment accurately. So I just want to say that I understand where you're at. I just wanted to get that on the record. I had a letter dated March 22nd to the board that obviously had the wrong case number. I don't know what's going on, but my comments still stand. You can obviously probably not make any, take any action on them. I just wanted to say that.
So I really want to be clear that the zoning board is not reopening this whole case. We're not taking public comment about the layout of these units or the parking or anything like that. That's gone. We've issued a decision on that. The only thing we're looking at is these modification requests that the applicant has put in. So there's not going to be a hearing about this whole project again. Bob, help me out here.
I think what might be a source of confusion is that originally with this set of modification requests, there was a new set of plans that I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, that proposed an additional building. And so the layout of the site was changing as a result of that. However, the applicant later withdrew that modification request. So there was that set of plans that were submitted, but then withdrawn. So there's no new set of plans that the board is evaluating at this time. The plans that were approved by the board way back when we made our first decision in this case to issue the comprehensive permit are still the same development plans that apply, and when we're not considering any modifications to those plans, we're just considering modifications to the language of the comprehensive permit in specific locations that the applicant is requesting modifications to the language of the comprehensive permit, but not a change to the plans themselves.
Okay, yeah, I understand. I just wanted to make my voice heard that this has been an extremely confusing process for the neighbors, so and you guys too. So anyway, that's it. I've said my piece. I think I'm set.
Mr. Chairman,
We appreciate your comments.
If I might, Mr. Chairman, at this point, I feel that I'm in the weeds on this. What I understood in the beginning, here was the plan. He had a problem with it. He went to the housing. And then we had this revised thing. I am quite sure that we had a meeting where we discussed whether or not, now look back on the peer review. The applicant wanted to stay with Beta. We wanted Tetra Tech. And why was that? Because this was supposedly a brand new project coming to us, if you will, at the first time. Now that's my recollection, and it is in the context of what we said about Tetra Tech versus Beta, and I'm 100% sure I mentioned the fact that if this was a new case and therefore we should have our own Tetra Tech, Beta was done. And if Beta was to be involved in this, my feeling at the time was that it would be like just adjusting this, and this. So how we got from there to here, now what I'm hearing from Bob, and I get it, is the Mr. Petrosi withdrew that, so boom, now we're back to the first one. Now, I have to tell you that something isn't right. This is convoluted because the very fact that people in the neighborhood are saying they're finding it convoluted. The more we get into this, the more I'm finding it convoluted. Where did we get from? We have a whole new project that requires advertising and a hearing and explained what's happening. How did we get from there to now when we're back to what was in the beginning that he objected to and ended up at the housing? I'm totally lost now. Totally.
So, Jane, I fully agree, and Ms. Paquette made the point, it's convoluted, it's confusing. So what I think we can do is we can continue this, and but we've gone over everything. We have comments from the town boards. what I would like to do is have town council draft a decision for these only nine conditions that the applicant has asked for modifications for, and we will draft a decision that says, whether if we grant them or modify them, but what we will modify them to. We are not reopening the whole case. We're just looking at 9 conditions that we've already approved.
But I thought my understanding was, and I go back to that meeting, where the applicant wanted beta, and the board said, but the issue then was that this is a brand new case, and now I can't.
And we voted, and that was a brand new case, and
what happened to it?
It's dead. We voted against it.
But the problem, John, is the public doesn't know this.
Yeah. No, we voted against it, but suddenly we're back at this, and I'm going along with this to a certain point. And then when the residents there, then I'm looking at my notes here to see what exactly did I say and what did we talk about. I'm still under the impression that we are going to open new thing. It's just, I've never been so confused.
Mr. Chairman.
So, Jane, I agree, it's confusing. And what I think we can do is we can have town council with us next time, and we can get these adjust the modifications to the decision that we already issued. The new plan that you're describing, Jane, that's dead. We voted against that. We issued a decision that Mr. Petrovich did not agree with, and he went to the housing. And if you'll recall, he came back again while it was still being litigated. And you said to him, we can't do anything right now because it's still being wherever it was. Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Suzanne, am I making any sense?
No, the public still thinks we're working on the substantially changed plan. Absolutely.
Exactly my point.
Yep.
When Suzanne, that plan's dead.
I don't think the public knows it, and they're entitled to know it.
Well, it's part of the public record. We voted, I don't know what they know. What I know is that we voted.
You just heard them.
Okay.
Can I just put a little bit of, okay, so when the modification number 2 and 1 and 3, when they were all advertised, it referenced the original decision, that the original decision has the plan referenced in that. So the public should very well know what plan it's going by because it's referencing the decision, and within the decision is the plan and the date of the plan.
But they had no case number.
They did. So the first one had a case number because Lou did it through Viewpoint. The other 2 was 0519-02. And the third one that we just clocked today and the board also denied was 0519-03.
So what I think we should do is we've had a discussion of these points with the applicant. We've had a discussion. We have comments from the town boards. We've had a chance to review them. You still have a chance to review them. We will keep this case open, and we will continue it, and we will have town council with us next time. And what I'm going to ask is that when town council joins us next time, that they have a draft decision that basically takes these 9 points, only 9 points out of this whole decision. That's what we're talking about now. Bob, do you agree that's what we're talking about?
I do, but I think there's clearly some concern about the board members. I think when town council's here, they can provide the roadmap. I mean, I could say what I think, but I don't think that's really going to advance the ball tonight. I think the hearing from town council will probably get everybody on the same page. My sense is that I think things have been advertised appropriately, but if we should hear from town council and then proceed accordingly.
Okay. So, Mr. Petrosi, did you want to say something?
Yeah. Sure. Well, just a little bit. Do you want to keep the hearing open? I mean, I don't think you really need to keep the hearing open. You have plenty of time to.
I assure you, I want to keep the hearing open.
Are you kidding?
Yeah. So we're going to keep the hearing open, and what we'll do is we'll continue it so that we can have a draft decision, so we understand what we're voting on. Amy, are we up in? Do you know if we're up against the time limit on this?
For a modification, I'm not aware if there's a time frame on a modification. I can always ask town council.
Okay. Suzanne, you're shaking your head. What do you want to do?
Because we can't even answer our own questions. Not a good thing.
I will say, though, that we have an approved project, a 32-unit project, Suzanne, so.
That was under appeal.
But it's at my discretion as to whether or not the appeal is going to continue or not. And so if we.
Is it under appeal as we sit here right now?
It is, yes. So, but typically when there's no other parties involved in an appeal, the applicant can start the development, provided he's complied with all the conditions for commencing construction, at his own peril. So because there's no other parties appealing this is simply a Wall Street decision as to proceed with the project of 32 units. We have an approved project. I'm just trying to clean up the decision that was issued for that 32 unit development. Okay, that's all I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
Well, I don't understand what your problem is.
Well, my problem, it's very, I'll say, I've been doing this for a while. This is confusing. Okay, so what we'll do is, Mr. Petrosi, do you want to continue this hearing?
I'll do whatever the board wants to do. I mean, I don't think you need to waste more time. You have time to file your decision. I think it's 40 days. So in the next 40 days, the board can talk and deliberate all it wants with town council and issue a decision. I don't know, whatever you want.
Amy, what's our hearing in May? What's the first hearing in May?
May 5th.
Okay.
Good to buy it. Nice, we'll do it.
So, Mr. Petrosi, we can continue this till May 5th. Will you grant an extension until at least May 6th?
Sure. Thank you.
Okay. That way we can have town council here with us on May 5th to make sure that we're all clear on what's going on with this. This is a request for modification of 9 conditions of an existing permit that we issued back in 2020. Okay. So, Amy, you've got that. Continue. So we'll have I'll have a motion to continue this until the 5th of May and extend the time until at least the 6th of May. Could I have a motion to continue this until May 5th? Can't hear you, Bob.
At 7 p.m.
At 7 p.m., yes.
So moved.
Could I have a second on that?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Suzanne, seems like you don't even want to continue this.
I'm abstaining.
Okay.
With confusion.
Okay.
I'm abstaining as well.
And you don't have to laugh at me, Mr. Petrosi.
I'm not laughing. I'm bemused.
Okay. So, the motion is to continue until May 5th and extend until the 6th, so that we can have town council review this and be here for the hearing. So, any further discussion on that? We have the motion before us. Roll call vote. Suzanne Murphy,
Murphy abstain.
Bob Fitzgerald,
Aye.
Drew Delaney,
Aye.
Jane Coffey,
Abstained.
and I'm John Lee. Aye. Okay, so we're going to continue this until May 5th, and we'll have town council here. We will see you, if not before then, Mr. Petrosi.
See you next week. Thank you very much.
Okay, good night. Okay, next we had some minutes, and I'm not prepared to do minutes tonight. Does anybody else want to do those minutes and has reviewed them?
No, I can wait.
Okay. Okay, anything else for the board? Amy, do you have anything for us?
Not at the moment, no.
Okay. Okay, very good. Could I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay,
Second.
second by Jane, moved by Suzanne, second by Jane. Does not require a roll call vote. Okay, all those in favor of adjourning, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, so carried. Okay. Okay, good night, everybody. Thank you.
Good night.